Greetings and God bless. So I just had an idea or just a question. Like, why do people travel constantly? Like, they go to another country or another part of America or wherever, whatever country they're from, and so they pay for overpriced travel to rent an overpriced Airbnb or hotel and to rent overpriced cars, to buy overpriced food, to go to an overcrowded place. And people really enjoy it, but and so what they're doing is they're going to go look at the sights, be in a park, go to a museum, go to a restaurant somewhere completely new, and where the locals cannot afford that housing, where the locals generally are not eating out at that nice restaurant, where the locals don't have the time or energy to go to that museum. And like it's just a strange thing, like we're we're kind of brainwashed. Okay, so you've got to go travel to Istanbul or I mean not to go visit Istanbul or Paris or whatever, but it just is interesting to me because, like, I was that entry level worker that was serving, like, maybe not tourists, but like wealthier people, eating out or buying that software or clothing or whatever that I couldn't afford. I would never spend that much money on a computer product on a regular basis or clothing or those meals. And so and with this current crazy economy right now, so people still seem to be traveling and so forth as much as ever. Even I mean, so I'm like, how did people survive with no income for like the lockdowns and all that? I mean, like, how did people manage it and still buying new cars and getting fancy hairdos and stuff like that? Like on one hand, I hear people talk about the economy and say that, food has gone up or, cars are harder to buy or something like that. But it also seems like there's just as much travel and just as much conspicuous consumption as there was in the past. So, but what I notice is the places that everybody is leaving for the week, at the weekend, when Friday or a 3-day holiday rolls around, people are getting out of this particular place. And and so like I lived in a place in Montana that's like a popular place to visit. And I can't say, I guess it happened when I was living in Portland, Oregon. But so people are like they live somewhere nice, but they don't enjoy the museums and the restaurants and the shopping because they're always away on the weekend to someplace else. And what's so interesting is like every weekend pretty much people are in some new location. And maybe that's how they're able to tolerate staying somewhere for 20, 30 years. And it's just different than how I grew up, working class people. They didn't go away for the weekend. They didn't even go to the museum on the weekend when there was time. It was just people were so exhausted and working a dysfunctional life that the best one could do was watch TV, a movie, um, rest up, and then just go back to work. So maybe it's super healthy to always go away for the weekend, but I really think that it harms your local economy when you're just always gone. And it doesn't just harm your local economy, it harms your community. Like when I was growing up in New York City in the 70s and 80s, people weren't always there were some people that always went away, but not everybody. And so, your neighbors were they're generally 24/7 and maybe going away for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but you just had this thread work, this fabric of people, and nowadays, people are like, they can't be bothered, to be here, um, and so cities are empty, like little cities. New York City seems to be still pretty busy, but, it does seem like a different demographic, um, and, I know this will be offensive, but it's like a lot of Caucasian people seem to be missing. Like, I watch these walking videos, pardon me, and, and it's 1%, maybe 2% of Caucasian people walking outside, in New York City, it seems to me. But, like, if I'm looking at some place like going to Italy or, whatever, there's a lot more Caucasian people. And, and I know people would be offended by me making an observation, and that's the problem. When you make an observation of a fact and that is considered politically correct incorrect. I'm like, the sky is blue. That's politically incorrect. This is an Orwellian nightmare. And the strange thing is, it's progressive liberal whites that started this whole problem. And I used to be one, but I never would be doing this kind of thing. I would never be censoring people and, hunting people down because they said something offensive, that was true. Like, that's what's really so, immature about this movement. But anyways, like, folks, you live in a nice neighborhood, you live in a nice city. Why aren't you here? Like, so many cities I go to, there's like nobody around, especially weekends and whatnot, unless it's like a festival, um, or there's some sort of like sightseeing thing. And what I wonder about places like there, when I was living in South Dakota, they had this little town square thing where they would have like games on the lawn or whatever. And it would just be a random like summer day or something like that. And I actually wonder, or like ice skating rink, I wonder if there's actually paid actors to come and play on the lawn or go ice skating to kind of, get the community wanting to do it. Because like, people nowadays, like, they're so handicapped. Like, they like, Americans have been made so dysfunctional, so debilitated, and it's like, either, and is it because people are on prescription medications or recreational drugs, and because they've had their humanity erased so much because of social media that they don't even know how to be a fun loving human being, a functional human being. I mean, that's the thing, is like, they're like, people are mentally ill off the charts now, and uh you know, medicine is just like, "Oh, well, let's just put you on more medications, more medications. Let's not fix it. We're not gonna fix it. We're not gonna help you overcome your issue. We're just gonna dope you up because it makes us money." And in the 80s and 90s, like, there was a sincere effort, it seemed to me, of, like, helping people resolve real serious issues. But if you're some bigger organization that has a lot of money, it's not about solutions. It's about more money, more profit, and the humans are like this sacrifice, this necessary sacrifice. That's what's really terrible about the mentality today, is like, people are being betrayed by the trusted agents of the public good, and the trusted agents of the public good just kind of rationalize, well, we're nothing's perfect or whatever. No, that's not at all what's going on. Like, this is a purposeful execution and destruction of people, culture, communities, um, and this nation and civilization and humanity. Like, this is a serious problem. But people are like, oh well, at least I'm getting my paycheck, so I'm going to turn a blind eye to the human trafficking that I'm facilitating, or that I'm somehow enabling, uh, because I just want to have my happy little life of ignorance. So, yeah, like, be in your community, you know, and like, okay, if you have absolutely nothing there, okay, but in the past, 40 years ago, 60 years ago, when there weren't malls and whatever, like, people were gathering together to play the piano together or sing together or play games or something. Like, there were functional, um, like, social enriching things that neighbors did. And, maybe, I don't know, maybe we don't get along like we used to. Uh, and we've been socially, like, engineered to not be able to relate effectively, not do conflict resolution, where we've devolved. We've been engineered to have devolved as humans. But are you going to let them do that? Like, are you going to succumb to their manipulation of you and other people? Because there's some cultures and some communities that are healthy, and I don't think that they're in America, but there probably are some. I mean, just the law of averages would say there, you know, there are some here, but um, yeah, it just would, if, and the thing is, I guess we're like so caught up in this fear of missing out, and this virtue signaling, or this conspicuous consumption, like showing off that you're somebody, like, oh, I just went away, oh, I just went here, I was there, blah blah blah, and it's this social status kind of a thing that matters more to people. So this status matters more than their actual, like, physical like, place that they live. Like, all of these channels of people doing incredible creative designs of each room of their house, and building furniture, and saving wildlife, or rescue pets and stuff like that. Now, if these people put their efforts into their community, like, and it's great, incredible things that people are doing, but if they actually put that into the people, like their community, um, and, I guess the question is like, how much furniture do you build or animals do you rescue before, before so then, before it's too much, and that you should be more involved in your community. I don't know. I mean, that is a question. Like, how much time does a healthy community on average take from the individual? I guess that is my question. And I think people should give it a try. So, what do you guys think? Thanks for watching.